it's time for round 5 of Instagram Designs My OC. Let's get started. Hello guys, so this week's video is going to be the video that a lot of people have been waiting for on my channel, round 5 of Instagram Designs My OC. So for people who don't know how this works, I post Instagram polls with different character traits. People pick which ones they want and I go for the most popular ones. This time though, it's going to be different because I do the opposite of what people want. So this challenge could actually end up being really cool because I know for a fact that some of the challenges before in previous videos have actually been all the same. So flipping it on its head is actually going to be a really interesting thing. So let's actually get straight into this challenge. I'm actually really super excited. So I'm on my Instagram right now. I'm going into my stories section. Right off the bat, it was a 50-50 split between both of them. So just to swipe up and actually see which one won, it was going to be a girl, but the least amount of votes was a boy. So we're gonna have a baby boy, okay. So I'm just actually gonna rush ahead to the next poll, which is human or non-human. So normally I would go with the most voted, but this time I'm going for the least voted. So I'm actually posting this video most of the way through October, so I should have done a lot of Inktober by that point. Yeah, that didn't happen. This video is now about a month late because on the original plan it was supposed to come out in the middle of October. Crap decided to hit the fan in my life, so here we are in the middle of November. I really do apologise. Just for a little bit of context, this part of the video where I actually make the character, yeah, this part was actually filmed the last week of September just before Inktober started, so it's been a while. But at the time I'm filming this, this is actually the first thing in this sketchbook. So how trippy is that for my mind? I'm wondering whether this boy will be a tall string bean or a small bean. We'll see what you guys didn't want. There will come a day where I actually flesh out this model on the side that I always draw. Doing a warm-up pose has always helped me in the past, so this is just something I do naturally. So just before I go into the next section, I will actually mention that the pencil could get quite reflective. So if I notice the pencil getting reflective, I will change my setup a little bit, but at the moment it's okay. So I'm just gonna stick with this so far. So the next poll is whether they are tall or short, and the answer to that is they would have been tall, but we're gonna go with short. Just rushing ahead to the next one, whether they are slim or heavy, the answer to that is heavier. So the next poll that I'm going to do is about hair, and the reason why I do hair first is because hair gives me a really good idea of how the character is going to look just in the long run. Hair does shape their face, and the answer that I'm looking for is actually short hair. So just going into it, I'm just going to do a profile view and then hopefully a 3/4 view. So the hair type that has come up is short hair. Now, male short hair, I've addressed this in a previous episode, is actually really difficult for me to actually make really diverse. So I'm gonna look up some references for some male short hairstyles and we'll be back. I don't know why, but I'm kind of feeling a weird shaped nose. Is that just me? I know this character is supposed to be human, but like I'm feeling like a really cool shaped nose or something just to make his face look different. Let's drop in some eyes. So I'm just sketching out the base sketch before I look at any hair references, just to give me an idea of what comes to my head first. His hair could also affect his eyebrows, because some people have like really short eyebrows and then other people have like really long eyebrows, so you never know, it could look different that way. Oh yeah, this guy is also supposed to be more chubby, so his face shape will definitely be changing. Oh, his face shape will definitely change. We're just starting out. There's no need to like get all perfectionist on yourself yet, Zoe. I'm sorry, sometimes I have to give myself a pep talk because sometimes I get a little bit too antsy. And that is becoming way too reflective. Let's change up my setup while I'm also looking for references as well. So I'm actually hoping that this is a better setup so you can actually see the graphite a lot better. In the last clip, the graphite actually started reflecting, so hopefully this should do. Since then, I've had a look at some reference pictures, so let's actually get into sketching some hair. I don't know whether his hair is straight or curly, but I'm just gonna do a little bit of warm up in terms of his hair. I know his hair is quite short, considering I've already done a male with long hair and a male with short hair in previous episodes. There's no real distinction on what is long hair and what is short hair, so we could actually make it longer than a previous character in this series, but we could also make it a lot shorter than Elias's hair, which, if you haven't seen Elias's hair, ooh, it's fun to draw his hair, let's just say. So he's got hair like that. This hairstyle is more for like straight hair. We could do one for a curly haired version. We don't even have to go with this hairstyle either. So I'm just gonna do straight across the top, looking like this. Hopefully I can pull this off, because I am not very good with drawing different male hairstyles, so hopefully this will look decent in the end. It always starts off looking like a hot mess. Something also to consider, I should really consider a different type of face shape. So this face shape is a bit more longer, or at least what I'm going for. I'm not entirely sure about this face shape. I'm not crazy about it, but at the same time, it makes him look quite different. So I'm not fully against it, but at the same time, I'm like, my old habits. Okay, let's get into drawing some curly hair. So instead of drawing individual curls, I'm actually going to draw them as chunks first. I have another character, Callan. He should have appeared in the sketchbook tour last week. If I'm doing these videos in the order that I have in my mind, the sketchbook tour would have come out last week. I'm pretty sure you could sense my soul just leave my body and yeet out into the stratosphere, and I just hit my webcam. And Callan appears a lot in there, and you'll actually see his curly, chunky like hair if you've watched that video. So it looks really, really rough around the edges currently. So his hairline is actually quite straight across the head, just with like a little curve, just so his forehead is in there. I feel like the forehead's too small, but I don't know. Okay, it's looking slightly better, but you never know, it could change. Why does this not look like my style at all? Like, what is going on? I am very confused right now. There's some hairstyles I just can't get right, and this is obviously one of them. So just adding lines to the chunky curls. This actually kind of helps it look like very corkscrew like curls. God, this hair looks absolutely mental. I am looking at reference, but it's not going the way I planned, and it's just looking more ridiculous the more I add to it. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this kind of character doesn't really feel like he fits, if that makes sense. Okay, his face now looks a little bit better now that I've moved the mouth across just a bit, but not by much. But that's the point of these videos. It's all about trial and error. It's also about an hour of Zoe just roasting herself and her drawing abilities. I'm actually curious on how long this video will be as well, because last time it was about an hour long, so we'll see. Present Zoe always hates past Zoe for these types of videos, because this video alone had 3+ hours of footage to edit down, and that's just in this section. That's not including the final illustration. So it actually sounds like I hate doing these videos. I don't. I actually really love the final results of these videos in particular. They're some of my favorites. It's just the editing process can become incredibly tedious because of the amount of footage that I have for this video type. So looking at the opposite results of the next poll, it is actually going to be straight hair. So that's definitely different. A lot of the times it's usually curly hair, which I'm happy drawing curly hair. It's nice to have a little bit of variety in these videos. So straight, short hair it is. Looking at the results for the skin tone, we actually have a light skin toned character. That is very different because every other character has had dark skin. Not that there's anything against that, but dark skin has been the answer for every single one of these videos so far. So it's actually nice to see some variety. So I'm gonna sketch out some hairstyles from this and also play around with the face shape as well, because even though this one is decent, it reminds me of one of my other characters, Brandon, so I'm definitely going to be changing it up and just looking for something a little bit different. So we don't know yet whether his hair will actually be dyed or not, and I've left that decision purposely for later, so it will just be a nice surprise. I'm just sketching out some face shapes, just trying to get a feel for a different face shape, because I feel like all of the face shapes kind of like fall into similar kind of feels for me personally. Okay, so because I'm trying to experiment with different face shapes, I'm having a really hard time trying to like talk about it, because I usually do a lot of my development work like in silence or listening to music or something. So trying to do this, it's actually really difficult filming these videos, like since I don't really have the luxury of listening to music while doing these videos because, you know, copyright strikes. Why do I feel so rusty? Like, I don't know what it is, but whenever I film these videos, I always feel like I've lost all ability in my artwork. Just why? Hopefully, Inktober should help rekindle that love of art, but I know for a fact that it will burn me out afterwards because of how much I am ready to improve my artwork. I don't know why, I constantly keep drawing this long face type of idea. I don't know. I should really do like more of a chubby kind of like cute face or something. I don't know. Since this character is supposed to be heavier, why not do like a more rounded face? Take on more circles into the design. I don't know if this character is going to be innocent or edgy, but that's something to find out for later. But this design is looking promising. Okay, making this character a bit more on the rounded side, I think helps. I mean, it's still got like a similar sort of face shape to what I would normally do, but it's more rounded, it's more softer. I know when I character design, I usually like to think of the silhouette that's going on as well. I've started doing that thing where I actually draw on top of other drawings when I character design, because my ideas are just so all over the place nowadays that I'm just like, oh, okay, there's this idea and then there's this idea. Does that look good? Like the polka dot type of eyebrow, or like the more rounded pudgy type of eyebrows? I don't know. So the hairstyle could actually depend on whether this guy is like cute or edgy. I have a Pinterest board for male hairstyles that I'm currently using, and there's a lot more curly than there is like straight hairstyles. I don't want to be like boring, but at the same time, like, what could classify as straight hair? Because every person's hair actually has like a natural type of wave to it. So what is straight hair? We all don't know. He could have like spiky hair or something. I don't know. I don't even know what this hairstyle is, so don't ask, please. I'm just as confused as everybody else. Maybe if we fix it, hopefully we can fix this. I mean, if this character is edgy, I feel like we can keep this hairstyle. I mean, even if this character ends up being like a completely innocent boy, I would find it a very, very funny juxtaposition. I don't know. Does that hairstyle work? Probably not. This is going to be a lot of work. I can just tell. There's a part of me now that just wants to give him like tattoos and stuff, but honestly, we don't know what he could be like. Ooh, he's very like rounded, which I actually really like. So we've got like, we love this pudgy boy. I think we are getting somewhere with this kind of look. And he would also be quite short, so I imagine his like torso and limbs being on the shorter side. I feel like his silhouette is definitely different from this. I'm actually going to make these kind of a bit like this one, just to try and nail down a hairstyle. Now obviously I'm not going to be able to change this one all that much because I think that's like drastically different from this one. At least we can get some details. I've given him dimples. Even if he's edgy, I want him to have dimples, okay? I'm feeling the dimples. The more that I'm looking at this hairstyle, the more I'm falling in love with it, especially with his face shape as well. Like, oh, he just looks so good. He definitely needs a lot more work, but I can see the potential, and that's why I'm getting really, really hyped. Okay, so just fixing up these ones at the top. He has quite like a rounded chin because I had an extra circle just to like jut out his chin a little bit. So just going with a hairstyle for a second. I don't know why, but part of me kind of wants to see like a little ponytail, like not even a really long one, just like a tiny one. Would that still class as like short hair if he had like a really, really small, tiny, puny little ponytail? I kind of like that idea. That's cute. I mean, even with this hairstyle, even if he ended up being like cute, I definitely could like make this hairstyle pretty cute because he's got that type of face that would work, that hairstyle being cute, but it also works edgy as well. So another hairstyle that could work is that he could have incredibly like flat hair. That male hairstyle where they've got like shaved sides and the hair is just against the head. I know that that has been quite the fashionable type of hairstyle, so that could work. I'm actually really wondering now whether his hair will be dyed or not. I mean, even if it's natural hair, I can give him natural highlights. Oh, his face definitely works like really, really well. Oh god, he's looking a bit cross-eyed in this picture. That's because there's no highlight or like no pupil to like define where his eyes are looking. He looks cross-eyed like me. Actually, no, when I look up, you can tell that I had a lazy eye as a kid, and I still kind of do have a lazy eye because when I look up, it's incredibly obvious which one didn't really correct itself properly. Okay, so up here. So we have a couple of options for the hairstyle. I still really like this one. I don't know what it is. I just really like it. But at least we have some options that we could go with. So I'm actually going to erase this. This face is really throwing me off, so I'm just going to erase it. I'm using my kneadable eraser for this. It just removes the lead without going like too far. I do change my pencil quite a lot in these videos. So far at the moment though, I'm going between various different types of 2B pencil. So this is the Boldmere pencil. The other one was the Stettler, the ones that you usually find in schools around the UK. I imagine him having like quite chubby cheeks. Just speaking about chubby cheeks is weird for me because I used to have quite chubby cheeks, and now because I've been losing weight, my cheeks aren't as chubby anymore. I mainly get attached to characters when I know what to call them, so when he gets a name, I will get fully attached. But you guys actually helped me out on a name, so I have to wait to get attached. God, this sketch looks kind of scary, even though this one looks really cute, and then there's this one. Okay, his face doesn't look as round on this side. It needs to. Okay, so now that we've got like a general face down, I actually really like the hair like flowing back kind of design. I don't know, there's something about it that just looks really cool. I'm wondering whether this character has like tattoos or something. I don't know. Yeah, I'm liking this one because it's a bit more scruffy. I mean, even if this guy ends up being innocent, I do imagine him being a little bit more like kind of a rough around the edges kind of person. So that's cute. So we've got an idea of what the face shape looks like. Now we need an idea of how the silhouette looks like. We've got a basis of a silhouette, but I definitely need to flesh it out more. And with the silhouette being established, we can also establish clothing and where this person comes from. So we are starting out by just doing a silhouette. Normally I would have a binder clip on the top just to hold the pages in place. However, this time around, because I'm going to be needing to flip between pages, I'm just going to hold off on putting the binder clip there just for now. I always do this. I always put the character too far over to the left. Because this character is short, we're going to give him short, stumpy legs. This is actually giving me flashbacks a little bit because this is actually pretty much the kind of like size I would draw myself as for like my Meet the Artist prompt. Speaking of Meet the Artist, should I do another one of those? I don't know. I remember the last time I did a Meet the Artist thing, I actually decided to do it a month before my birthday, so I was a little bit stupid. His arms are a little bit long, but we can fix that. It's just the way his hands look. Oh, he's a chunky boy. I actually really like his silhouette. This boy's got some curves going on. So I'm going to draw his hair. And I have a tendency of going for the first design that I end up drawing. Even though I do variants on the designs, it's always the first one that I end up liking. Why? I don't know whether people would start to class this as long hair because of how like up it is, or whether people would just say it's short hair because it's close to the head. I don't know. To be honest, in terms of long hair and short hair, a lot of people have their own definition of what's long and what's short. That kind of goes for female hair as well. I've unintentionally given him like a really big forehead. He has more of a chin than that. He needs the chin. Oh, look at him. He's really cute. Now that there's a silhouette mapped out, I'm going to determine what kind of clothing they would wear. So that would include the climate and also whether they would wear a more masculine or feminine sort of style. So the first one is climate, and it was a 50-50 split. So if I actually swipe up, it says that there is 105 votes for warm and 104 for cold. The answer to this is actually cold by 1 vote. That's crazy. So when it actually comes to the climate, it's actually a really interesting one because I have a character universe for those who don't know. So I actually can decide exactly where they belong in my character universe. Now, cold climate is a really interesting one because a lot of the characters have actually existed in a warm climate so far. So there hasn't really been a cold place to put some of the OCs from this series. Until now, although I haven't actually added it to the map yet because I've previously been busy with my convention and also the run up to Inktober as well as so many other videos in the background that I've been doing. But there is now a kingdom called Quillo that is more like a snow and ice kind of kingdom, and I have actually been holding off on designing a lot for Quillo because I don't really want it to fall into frozen influences. So I've actually taken other influences from elsewhere that's not frozen to do that kingdom. So Quillo is definitely an option for this guy. So in terms of fashion, I am going to look into next whether he wears more masculine or feminine clothing. But with Quillo has influences in terms of fashion with like Inuit, Yupik, and Eskimo types of clothing. It also mixes in a little bit of Russian and Siberian winter clothes. So when actually looking at references for clothes for him, I'm definitely going to take this into account because it's part of Quillo's culture. But first, I'm actually going to check whether he wears masculine or feminine clothes, and the least popular answer is masculine. So okay, I'm okay with that. Okay, so for clothing, we could actually go traditional or more contemporary. I really am liking the idea of like a sweater kind of thing. So around his neck. That could be really cute. I just had a thought. We should actually see whether he is more on the edgy side or more on the cute side. That way it will kind of be easier to work out a sort of style for him. So according to the poll, he is an innocent guy. So according to this poll, he is going to be innocent. Oh, I'm so looking forward to doing such a cute design. And as I said before, this hairstyle could probably work as a cute hairstyle too. So let's just continue where we were going with this. I don't know, I'm feeling like a really fluffy, like oversized sweater or something. Probably with like a sort of pattern, maybe around the cuff and maybe the top part of this turtleneck jumper. Now, I said sweater before, but I'm gonna be saying jumper because I'm from the UK. That's the word that I usually use for this kind of clothing. So I just thought I would clarify that if anybody gets confused in the comments. I'm just fleshing out the face, even though I don't really need to. I don't know. I always kind of flesh out the face a bit. His face is looking a bit flat on this one. So you have this sweater kind of look. I kind of think like this could be cool. Like this is more like the stretchiness of the fabric. I'm using a reference picture on my Quillo Pinterest board. I will leave my Pinterest down below in the description if you would like to check it out. I have Pinterest boards for a lot of different things. A lot of them are actually for my character universe. So if you would like to check out the aesthetics that I kind of go for with each of the kingdoms, then my Pinterest is definitely the place to go. I will say though, I have yet to organize my Pinterest properly, so it's a little bit of a mess, but I would call it organized chaos, like my life. So in the reference picture that I'm looking at, the guy's wearing a sweater and then a coat on the top. I think that could look really cute, but the coat that the guy is wearing in the reference picture is like just a plain Jane kind of coat. It's very boring. I really want to give him like a fluffy kind of coat. I think that could be really, really cute. So like this fluffy, my sketches always look like such a mess. Woo! This is why I always say to people, your sketchbooks don't need to be like the most gorgeous masterpiece, because sketchbooks are literally for ideas generation. And for me, I usually like don't do a lot of final work in my sketchbook. I sometimes do when I'm feeling adventurous. Or in my last sketchbook, I was like, bring out the watercolor because I have a new travel palette. I will color everything. Now, some might actually say, what about your Inktober sketchbook tours? Well, my Inktober sketchbook tours, how I do them is I actually take out each of the pages and do them each separately. So I treat them like a separate piece of artwork, and the only reason why it's a sketchbook tour in the end is because I put it all back together. But most of the time I don't really do that. I just decide to do really, really loose sketches. I feel like I keep drawing this character really inconsistently. I think the best way I've drawn this character is this so far. Hopefully I can draw him right for like the last picture in this video, hopefully. Okay, so we have this kind of like coat like this, the shape. I think I'm gonna have like his sweater have like a plait kind of look, or like how I would do basic plaits, but having like the fabric kind of do this crisscross. I know the kind of effect that I'm going for, even if I screw it up, so okay. Also, the pattern would be way more subtle, so I'm kind of like shading in this middle part just to show it's like a separate part of the outfit. Hopefully you can still see some of the detail put into it. I don't know whether you can. Okay, I'm actually wondering whether he has piercings or tattoos, because if he does, then there's a chance that they could be covered up by a lot of what he's wearing, so probably not a great idea, but you know, that's fine. I kind of want the coat to have like this buckle across the middle. It doesn't look like it's across the middle though. He looks really, really sweet. I like him. Oh my god. Okay, so I'm gonna just do a very, very rough silhouette. So this is his main silhouette. I'm kind of keeping this as a normal silhouette, maybe add some shoes or something, but I'm keeping this as like a plain silhouette just so I'm aware of his body shape, because it's very different from this plain silhouette, as you can see the difference. Okay, my hand is getting very, very dirty very quickly. That is because I'm a left-handed person doing left to right in my sketchbook. That is because that's the way I naturally draw, and as a result, my hand gets covered in graphite, especially because I like to work in 2B pencils. I would kind of call that a form of self-sabotage, but okay. He almost has like chibi-like proportions, almost. I wouldn't say it's completely chibi, but it does remind me of like a chibi proportion. Okay, doesn't look perfect, but we're only doing outfit design. We're not doing like proper anatomy kind of sketches. So I'm actually just going to sketch what we have already and then get back to the bottom half of his design. So what I'm actually going to do for this particular drawing is I'm actually going to make the jacket closed. I'm gonna draw a version of him like without this jacket entirely because I kind of want to see how that would look. So part of me wants to give him like cuffs of this jacket, but another part of me wants to like give him more of like a fluffy kind of thing to this jacket. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have like the cuffs of the jacket, like the top of the cuffs like have the fluff coming out of them or something. I don't know whether this will change. Probably. Wouldn't be surprised. Want to give him a buckle. I kind of want to give him a long coat, but at the same time, I don't want it to be too long. Let's kind of make it just above his knee. I almost made it knee height then. Oops. I really want to make his like boots really exaggerated as well. Like he would have ice boots, so he would have like spikes on the bottom of his boots. It's not a cute or edgy kind of thing, it's more of a practical thing. Because if he's walking on ice and snow, it would make sense. Make the sketch a little bit cleaner, because that's my problem. I am very messy when it comes to my sketching. As much as I want him to have mittens instead of like gloves, I really feel like the gloves will serve him better practically. Maybe you could have those type of gloves where, this is going to be a really bad drawing of a hand, but it's just to serve a purpose. Maybe he could have those type of gloves. There's like options between full finger gloves and like the mitten on the back, you know, like those really cute gloves that have like the mitten option on the back, just in case he wants to like fully seal up his hands. I think that's a really cute thing. Oh, yes, I'm going with that idea. I really like it. And I think around the rim of the mitten, it would have like a pattern. So this is the same kind of pattern that I have on one of my other characters from Quillo. So maybe like having it sort of matching, that would be cool. It's basically just a cross pattern that looks like this. This is a very bad example, but a lot of the references, like the patterns, are incredibly simple anyway. I'm just going to take that approach because it's easier and quicker to draw, and I have Inktober to plan for. This is not my only project. Ooh, do I add pockets? I kind of want to add pockets. I mean, when in doubt, just add pockets. Because I feel like this outfit is like becoming way more like practical. Like little buttons on each of the pockets, that's really sweet. Well, obviously because of his hair, I don't really want to give him a hat, but it feels only natural that I give him a hat. I want to give him a hat so badly, but I don't want to cover up his hair because it's really cute. I feel like maybe for a hat, like this could be a hood or something. So when he has his hood fully up, he looks a little bit like a lion. The fluff just going everywhere. I like it. Okay, so with boots, I'm not entirely sure what to go with. Ugh. I mean, I kind of like the idea of possibly like curl toe boots, but is that too generic? I don't know. I mean, some of the references I've got don't have curl toe boots. They have more like a sectioned off, like bulky kind of boot, which I'm fine with that, to be honest. It's almost like an Ugg boot kind of feel. I used to own some like fake Ugg boots. I think they were from Lidl. They were really bad, but I loved them at the same time. Like, I used to draw myself in them a lot because I used to feel like I was cute in them. If I can find a picture, I will put it on screen now. But yeah, like, they have like sectioned off kind of look to them. So I'm kind of feeling like there'd be like a stripe in the middle or something, because on one of my references, there's like this stripe. This kind of looks like my reference, but at the same time it really doesn't. It really is like taking multiple parts of outfits. Kind of made the boot fabric a little bit more textured. It's very messy, but I actually really like his design. I think it's really sweet. I was actually going to add fluff to the bottom of his coat as well, but I think that would be just a little bit too much. I did it on one of my other characters, but she was, well, for one thing, different style that I was going for, because for one thing, she's a different case to this character, even though she is from Quillo as well. Something that I also see a lot is like this like frill kind of a look. So it's like kind of like beads along the bottom of his coat. That could be really, really cute. I think the next stage is to do what his jumper looks like on the inside, but I really like his outside wear. I think it looks really, really cool. Flipping on to the next page, I just want to focus on his outfit that's not in his coat, although I actually really, really love his coat. I'm feeling like possibly he could wear another outfit or something. Sketching out a silhouette, a very, very rough silhouette actually. So we know that this character wears a jumper like this. I literally just forgot that he has like this sort of detail around the top where it's kind of like the elastic or like how it's sewn. It's very much a jumper of like zigzags, to be honest. I think when I draw him, I'm definitely going to be drawing the coat, because I really like the coat design a lot better. I mean, I like his sweater, it's really annoying to draw all of this. Maybe actually changing up his, like, the sweater sort of design would be interesting. Or maybe I just need to, like, practice how to draw, like, this sort of zigzag design. It is really late when I'm filming this part of the video, because I don't know if I've said, but I film this type of video over multiple days. At the time that I'm currently filming this part, it is 20 to midnight, so I am very tired, and it is currently 1:10 a.m. I'm even more tired. I've been editing this on and off throughout October as well as November, so I'm just tired either way. So I'm thinking, like, once they take off the boots, they actually have like this sort of pinch in design anyway. Even though it's a design of the boots, I feel like he would wear his boots a lot, that like his trousers would like naturally take in this sort of shape. He wouldn't have like ice boots or anything. This would be like his inside wear, but I still prefer this, and this is probably going to be the outfit that I choose to draw him in. And even if like I choose like this sort of look, it's very, very subtle in terms of the design, so this could still work. So I think I'm actually just going to leave it at that. So the two polls that came up next were whether to add piercings and tattoos, and the answer to both of them is no tattoos, no piercings, which I kind of expected, because most of the time everybody wants the character to have some sort of piercing and some sort of tattoo. This time there's none. I think when it comes to the outfit, I'm probably going to spruce it up just a little bit with like some details. I think what I might do is I might add some like details around the halfway down the arms like this. I know it's a very simple design, but it will probably look a lot less simple in color. I think for his pockets, I'm gonna add some little tassels. Even though he doesn't have piercings, jewelry could be a cool one, but whether his jewelry would show up is another thing. I mean, his jewelry could show up if it's like, say, a necklace or something, and if it was on top of his jumper but underneath his jacket, maybe, I don't know. Like, I think that might be a little bit too much, because as much detail as I like to put into character design, sometimes actually stepping back and actually not putting as much detail in actually helps the character look better, and it helps the design breathe a bit. I actually really like the way he's looking. He's looking really, really cute. I think what I might do is, even though he has a belt, I'm thinking of adding like buttons or something. So I think I'm gonna add like these kind of drawstring kind of things. Okay, I'm gonna add at least 3, maybe 4, because on a normal coat you would kind of like have that sort of like design choice. Okay, so this is the last one. Well, this paper just doesn't take kindly to people with heavy-handed sketching, and that's me. That's me. Instead of making them proper ice boots, I think that these would be like steel toe caps or something, or those kind of things that you could place on the bottom of your shoes. So that way his boots can actually be multifunctional. And I do think that the fluff on his coat could actually be detached as well. I'm just cleaning up the sketch just a little bit. So we've done all the poles. I think the only thing left to do now is the color. So I think before doing the color, I'm actually going to flesh out this face. So that way we actually have a really good reference to do some color swatches. In these videos, in terms of the sketching process, there's literally only like 1 or 2 drawings that end up being like my favorites in the sketching process. The rest of them are like really, really rough. This is definitely the one I like the most. Oh, I just realized that the one pole I didn't actually talk about was his hair. Now, I thought I'd already done this because, you know, we tackled his hair like a little bit ago, but his hair is actually natural. So I'm sorry to everyone who wanted him to have like an unnatural hair color, but so this is doing the opposite of the poles kind of video. So I'm sorry for people who wanted to see that. But I will say this is a very different character to what I was expecting to create. To be honest, like every single time this type of video comes about, it's always like a different character to what I was expecting. I really like the fact that he is short as well. And I will say I did not like fully shave his head because I don't think it would be in his best intention to shave his head because of the climate. I feel like he would want to experiment with his hairstyle, kind of like with the spiky updo that kind of curls round on itself. But at the same time, he wouldn't want to do the side shave because it's cold in Quillo. He wants to keep the side of his head warm when he's not wearing all the lion mane that is his hood. So normally at this part in the video, I would actually do color swatches. I would actually test out some stuff, but I would say my footage corrupted, but no, I was even stupider than that because I accidentally deleted the footage while going through old files and cleaning out old files. So I'm just going to show you guys what I did. These are colour swatches of our Quillo boy. I used Copic marker just to flesh out some of the colours because obviously Copic dries quicker than watercolour ever will do. You can kind of see that I was trying to go with some bold colours because I was thinking, oh, you're in Quillo, which is like a more colder ice and snow kind of kingdom, so you would want something that stands out, right? So obviously I went with like this red, and there was a point where I did try and go for the orange, but it just didn't really feel right, if that makes sense. But you'll see in the final colour selection, I went with a pop of colour as well as more of a neutral sort of tone, which definitely suits the character a lot better and definitely makes the character feel a lot more solid. Now I started off with some compositions for this piece. Now originally I just drew little sketches of this character instead of like thinking of the composition as a whole, but I decided to start off the sketching process for this video just showing the composition work because it feels like it flows a lot better. If you haven't watched these videos before, I do a clip at the end where I show off all of the process of this character, even the extra sketches that don't make it into the final cut of all the footage. Because this type of video is more or less about the character design, I obviously have to come up with a full body composition piece because I want to show off the entirety of the character's design. In some of my original concepts for this piece, it didn't incorporate a full body, so I had to rethink my ideas quite a lot of times, and there's a lot of different compositions that I could have gone with. Even though they look like scribble to you, they are definitely not scribble to me. So lately I've been wanting to incorporate more of my sketching process in my videos. I've also had comments saying that they want to see more of the sketching process, which I completely understand because I would want to see it too. So my sketching process has always been a very rough sort of draft in my sketchbook or on a plain piece of paper, take a photo of it or scan it in, and then make it more detailed with digital work. And this is what I did with this sketch. However, I did most of the sketch in my sketchbook, and I just resized it and actually made it full body using my tablet and Clip Studio Paint. This also gave me the opportunity to flesh out more of an idea for a background. So the hardest part about this entire process was the fact that this character was made over a divide in time. And what I mean by that is that the making of the character and the sketching process you saw was actually done at the end of September, and then this final illustration was done within this past week. So if the character doesn't look as good as it did in the sketches, that is because of the huge gap in time. And another consequence of this big gap in time is the fact that during October, I only worked in ink. So by the time that I started to work on this final illustration, I had jumped back into watercolor, and watercolor and ink are two completely different mediums. Even though I was using them somewhat similarly, they are two mediums that work differently. I did feel really rusty, but Inktober had helped me out with trying to figure out lighting and actually make my uses of colour a lot better. And I definitely feel like even though I was rusty using the watercolour, the colours in this definitely seem a lot nicer and a lot more well-rounded for the piece. And that's because even all the colour swatches was done after Inktober. But this character does need a name. As always, I'm going to open it up to the comments section. If you guys want to help name this character, leave your suggestions down below in the comments. I would love to hear them. As always, the characters in this series definitely come out a lot different than I was expecting to. Things do take a turn during the design process, and I think that that is so cool to actually see and document. Even though these videos are incredibly tedious to edit, as you saw throughout my style of editing of this video, which, by the way, is inspired by Plumbella, a Sims YouTuber. These type of videos are so worth it, especially for the end product. You guys really enjoy them, and I really like having a documentation of my character design process. On a side note though, it's also very good for my channel as well, so it's a win all around. So if you've watched some of my recent previous videos, you might be aware that I went through a really bad time mentally in the last part of October, and it's been a roller coaster trying to get back into the swing of things. November for me is usually quite the hard month. I don't know whether you can tell in the tone of my voice, but the 18th of November marks the 2-year anniversary of my granddad passing away. So it's a very sensitive time, and because of that, I've actually been thinking of ways to make changes that will be better for me mentally. And one of the better mental health decisions that I want to make is about live streams. And I know this could have a negative reaction, but I've been wanting to try live streaming on Twitch instead of YouTube. I do have multiple reasons behind why I want to do this, and upon making my final decision, I will actually make a video explaining my reasonings and also what I want to do in the future in terms of YouTube live streams, because I'm definitely not going to cut them out all entirely. But if you do want to follow me on Twitch, I will leave a link down below in the description to my Twitch channel. On my Twitch channel, I do actually intend to stream more than just artwork, as well as projects that I'm working on that I don't usually share on YouTube. So again, the link to that will be down below in the description if you would like to follow me. You don't have to if you don't want to, that's perfectly fine. And at the moment, streaming on Twitch for me is kind of experimental, to see whether I like it better or not, because I still have to get used to the layout of the dashboard. But I did have my first stream on there the other day, and I enjoyed it immensely. It reminded me of some of my older live streams, like I'd gone back to my roots, and it was just a lot of fun. So getting back to the subject matter of this video, which is obviously the Instagram Designs My OCs. Now I do the Instagram polls on my Instagram stories, so if you would like to participate in the next episode of this series, then I would recommend following my Instagram. I don't know when the next episode will be, but I'm hoping the wait for it won't be as long as the wait for this episode. The wait for this episode was caused by commitments I had already committed to, as well as unforeseen circumstances, so I am really sorry about that. Really speaking, I am the person who wanted this video out the most, because I've been sitting on this character's design for the last month and a half, almost 2 months, and I've not been able to say anything about it. I haven't been able to gush about how cute this character is, or at least how cute I think he is. So I really hope this character was worth the wait, even though the circumstances around the time that I was creating this character weren't particularly the best for me. I didn't want to delete the footage of this video because I really wanted to share this character's creation with you guys. And now that this character is out, I feel like I can share more about the kingdom that he's from, Quillo, the Snow and Ice Kingdom that I've been making. Now obviously it's still in its early stages, but hopefully I can work on it more during streams. And that's why I brought up the whole Twitch thing, because honestly, it's probably a place where I'm going to be working on it more. So now we're going to show off the process of the entire thing, and we're going to open up the sketchbook. This was actually at the start of this sketchbook, so I can just open the first few pages. So we started off at the beginning with the silhouette and then going into hairstyles, experimenting with slightly different face shapes. I know I didn't go too far away from my comfort zone, but I at least attempted to, especially with this very much failed thing. So flipping over the page, you can start to see the character take some shape and all the clothing being mapped out. So ideas about what his hood could look like, as well as a close-up on his gloves. Very cute. And then we have some sketches that I didn't really show off too much in this video. Obviously you saw me start this one. I never really did anything with it. I definitely need to think about more of what he would wear inside his clothing, but the video was getting super long, so I just wanted to cut it down. And plus I was already super happy with his big oversized coat anyway, so there was that. There was this sketch. And then there was this sketch. Didn't really make too much of an appearance, if at all really, so there's that. So now flipping on to the next page. This was actually a page I cut out during editing. I did actually have some footage of me sketching out some of these. Now this was actually the final colour composition from this sheet, and that's why this sheet is so cut up, is because I wanted to cut it out and stick it in my sketchbook so I had a form of reference and I knew which one was the final design. This was actually supposed to be the original sketch, so he was supposed to have a shovel. So now I've got to skip ahead the entirety of Inktober because I actually sketched out all of this as the next page after I'd finished Inktober. You can see the last day of Inktober's sketches here. But here are some of the compositions that I came up with. You can see that I went with this one. So yeah, his original item that he was holding was a shovel, but I changed it to a lantern because I thought it just looked really sweet. And I really wanted a composition that was just shining, just contrasting colours. I love compositions that incorporate lighting effects and stuff like that. And plus, it's a Snow and Ice Kingdom. There was going to be a lot of reflections and stuff. So, of course, I wanted something that would give me that. So, a lantern was definitely a really good option for that. Now, of course, you have already seen these colour swatches. So now we're going to show off the final piece, which fits pretty perfectly in frame. Obviously it doesn't have space along the bottom or the top, but you can actually see it in its full glory. I don't know whether you can tell, but I added some silver and gold in the beads, as well as the buckle and also the ties of his coat. I also added a little bit of silver over the grey for the steel cap boots. So yeah, if you have a name for this character, please suggest it in the comments. I would love to hear your suggestions. If you liked this video, you can like and subscribe if you haven't already, with those post notifications on, notifications for every time I upload or live stream. Now obviously I'm considering moving my live streams over to Twitch, but I dare say there will be some live streams that do still end up on the YouTube channel anyway. I will see you guys in my next video, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Bye guys!